On the evening of July 4th in the state of Texas, 10 to 12 armed individuals dressed in all-black military-style clothing attacked an ICE facility. They fired fireworks at it, they vandalized the vehicles in the parking lot, all in an attempt to lure ICE agents outside. Eventually, 2 unarmed ICE agents did respond along with local PD. When they attempted to engage the individuals, gunfire erupted from a nearby position. This was obviously a coordinated and planned ambush. In an unconnected incident, another individual armed with a rifle and dressed in tactical gear opened fire on a CBP facility, striking several agents before ultimately being dispatched. This particular individual had no criminal record, they had no known history of violence, and yet he was driven to act. The regime feigns ignorance of his motive as if the cause isn't staring them straight in the face. And weeks prior to these incidents in Portland, we had a No Kings protest that was escalated with protesters throwing rocks, fireworks, and trash at an ICE facility. This ultimately did result in 4 federal officers being injured. These are just a few of the incidents contributing to a 700% increase in violent attacks targeting immigration officials. And while the state clutches its pearls, we ask, what did you expect? What did you expect as people are watching their communities being torn apart? What did you expect when we hear reports from overcrowded ICE facilities where people are denied enough food, enough water, medical care, or even basic human dignity? What do you expect when we hear stories from Alligator Auschwitz where detainees go days without bathing, are fed food crawling with maggots, where oversight has been gutted by Kristi Noem and her DHS stormtroopers? We hear that the majority of those detained have no criminal record, that the majority, 75% of those disappeared to SECOT, have no criminal record. And you expect that the public won't react, that they won't respond? No. We grew up hearing never again, and we took that shit to heart. We were taught, give me liberty or give me death, and we took that shit to heart. We were shown over and over what happens when people stay silent in the face of fascism. We were taught what happens when we are complacent, when good people look away. So when you invade our neighborhoods, raid our homes, cage our families in concentration camps, you think we're just gonna accept it? We won't. As the regime continues its violence against immigrant communities, these acts of retaliation will continue to grow. And with that, here's the cruel irony. Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem will use these incidents as fuel for even more raids, more detentions, more repression. Not to prevent violence, but to provoke it. These acts of resistance are not random. They are a reaction to the escalation of state violence, a symptom of a disease, the immune response of a nation infected with fascism. And if this administration doesn't change course, this feedback loop of violence will spiral, and they will have no one to blame but themselves.